One. All right, good evening, folks. Welcome to another edition of A Drink with Charit. Really excited to have this, young man standing all the way in New Zealand. Now, uh, I had a great chat with this young man in the morning, and it was really exciting. Accidentally, we had a test transmission, and had a few people taking a sneak peek. Uh, without much ado, just to talk about Boa, it's a remarkable person, a guy who has gone through a lot in life in the recent past, and he's a guy who defied a life-threatening disease, and against all odds, he's standing in front of the camera and standing tall, standing straight, and he's alive and kicking, and he's back on his rugby, he's doing his coaching, he's doing his analyzing, and he put all these nasty experiences that he had in life, all those things, put behind, and he's up and about at wee hours in the morning in cold New Zealand, and is I'm really eager and I'm really grateful. Boa, great to have you on the show, son. It's a really absolutely a pleasure to have you.
Charit, look, man, what an incredible introduction. I've never been introduced to anyone or anything in my whole life like that. It reminds me of a WWE wrestling match, where the ring announcer talks about all these wonderful things. And so, look, it's absolute pleasure to be on the show. And thank you for having me. When you first asked me, would you like to be on the show? I was like, why me? What on earth am I going to talk to you about? But, you have this very unique, uncanny ability of, stitching together or buttoning together a story. And the more you actually spoke to me about what you want to talk about, and what you want to talk about with your viewers, the more sense it made. So yeah, look, it's great to be on the show, and a big welcome, or kia ora, as we say here in New Zealand, to all your viewers. And you're on your way. Maybe you already are a true internet celebrity in Sri Lanka, Charith.
Well, I'm far from that, mate. But as I said before, that it's great to have you on the show. You look pretty sharp with your shades on, with your headphones on, just the way you trademark yourself. It's all. I must say that you look really good, really cool. Unfortunately, you look like my younger sibling. I don't know how it happened. It just really strange that the trial run we had. Some of the people who had a sneak peek. As I said before, thought, what the hell, your younger brother? I said, perhaps, I don't know. And already, like I say, Manik's, Surendra Kumar, is a great follower, and who was eager to, listen to this chat. And good evening to you too, Manik. That's his greeting on the other side, and good to have him on the show. And yeah, Boa, you got to tell people. And I think, when the setback you had in life, now you didn't want to initially, you didn't want to talk about it, and only very few people knew what really happened to you. I mean, you were young, energetic, and everything going for you in life, and suddenly, that the illness came upon, and from the word go, how you made your mind up to overcome this disease. And if I'm not mistaken, I believe you lost almost 60% of your intestines, and that you went through major surgery, major chemo, and lost all your hair, perhaps some of your good looks. I'm not saying that you don't look good at the moment. You look brilliant, mate, and nobody would say that that you went through a life changing experience, and you're back on your feet. Just tell us, like, there are lots of people who perhaps going through the similar scenario, who had a similar similar experience in the recent past, how you cope up and how you face the world, just be positively look at things in the future.
Yeah, look, the good news was, I've been bald for a good 20 years now in my life. Most of my adult life, I've had no hair. So when I went through
Right.
when I went through chemotherapy, it really didn't make much of a difference apart from losing my eyebrows. So yeah, look, cut long story short, Jared, a few years back now, I got diagnosed with fairly late stage cancer in my stomach. And it was a real shock. It was a real shock to the system. And this is really the first time I have openly spoken about it to anyone outside of my closest family and friends. And you were part of that whole journey. It was a real struggle. It was a real difficult time. But the most important thing was I was very lucky, very fortunate. I had an amazing team of doctors, a great medical team. Um, what I really did was, apart from being mentally positive and strong, I emptied my cup. By that I mean I put all whatever thoughts or whatever biases or whatever information I thought I knew about cancer aside, and I really listened to my doctors, and I followed every step um, they wanted me to do as far as treatment goes. And I basically made it my number one priority in life because I was struggling for my life, and it was quite literally a matter of life and death. But as you get into treatment, you go through certain physiological changes. You deal with it the best you can. But as I said, if you follow the advice of the professionals, um, you get better, you start seeing improvements, and then you throw yourself more and more into the treatment, no matter how difficult, whatever the side effects, etc. are. So yeah, cut long story short, survived it. Had to rebuild pretty much my life. I lost, half of my body weight, and it was a significant disruption. Because I had young kids, I had a young family. My wife was amazing. She was very supportive right through the process. I had some amazing friends. You are one of them. You still are. Hopefully, you will be for the rest of my life. And yeah, really battled it through. And rather than sort of hide my head under the sand, I manned up, faced the situation. And here I am talking to you, true internet celebrity of Sri Lanka, Charan.
Oh man, just I don't know whether I'm a celebrity or not. I mean, I never wanted to be, and I'm just the way I am. From day number one. From the days you knew me from CH, and but I'm so glad to hear that you include me in the time that you needed a friend, and I was always, although I was not there with you physically, and even sentimentally, I was with you, and I was always, telling you to be positive. I kind of realize, how hard it will be for you, being a young guy with a young family, and especially the side effects and all that, how you're coping. And really, literally, at some point, I could feel the pain, mate. A fellow human, a good mate. And so all the time in my mind, I wished you nothing but the very best. And, I wished you well. And mate, this is going to be one hell of a show. All your mates are Dimitri Jude saying hi to you, Boa. Judy and Felix the always. Felix, where's Starik's drink? It's coming up, bro. Coming up shortly. We just started the show, for God's sake. There you go. The Boa is, having his drink. Okay, as Felix will be very unhappy if you. There goes my drink. Cheers, Felix.
Felix, it's coffee. It's not scotch or bourbon.
Probably,
So
like,
sorry.
that's a little too late for Felix. 5 hours ahead. He must be still feeling the heat of all the bushfires that went around him. So I believe that he's taking something cool to keep the heat down. By the way, that lots of people, there's something that they don't know about. That it is you who got me on this show. I don't think many people know about it. And in many when in my Thanksgiving show, which I did at the end of last year, I specifically mentioned your name, and I said, Boa, I'm so grateful for having given the have for giving me the opportunity. You always wanted me to have my own blog, and I'm thought, mate, I start writing, like all bloody garbage on Facebook, after a few, and it's no way, I'm not going to do that. Then I was thinking, how am I going to, get to interact with, my mates, my friends on Facebook? Then I was just looking at, the, for something that, what the others haven't done. I'm not saying, I'm the one who started it. I mean, there were many talk show hosts, in other parts of the world, and I'm not very sure whether there are many talk show hosts in Sri Lanka. But I thought, taking your advice, why not do something new? As you know that it all happened when I first started. It was just like a casual chat I had with Avishka Gunawardana, just like you. He was the first guy on the show. I called him for a very casual drink home. Said, hey, let's get on live, Facebook Live, and just went on air, and turned out to be, uh, very good response, and it was fun show, and spoke a lot of, lot about cricket and good things, and about life, and just like you, he's another coach, who inspires. He's inspiring coach, and the role that I have taken upon, and you do. I'll be coming on to that. Just where I'm heading right now, and that's why most of the people who has come on my show. That when you ask me why me, so the answer is why not. And the type of people who have come on my show are people always who have inspired others, who have a lot to offer to the world, who always have a very positive story to tell, and the people would listen to and look up to. And consider yourself, mate, that it is my privilege to have you on the show. It's not the other way around. It's absolutely brilliant to have you. And once again, I'm thankful and grateful for getting me on this journey. And I was just waiting for the right moment for you to come on the show. And it so happened that the timing, as you always say, it's all about timing. And the paper article came because lots of people didn't know who Boa is, and so it helped me that people are wondering who this guy I'm going to talk to. Well, to tell you frankly, I think the guys who listen to rugby, school rugby, and the work that you have done, on and off the field, they all know you. But apart from that, people didn't know who you were. So my job is, at the moment, to all those Sri Lankans who have excelled in life, who have made an impact in other people's life, to bring on my show and to showcase them. And that's where I want to go. I want to do now. What I'm going to tell you, mate. I lived overseas for a while, and I know how hard it is, as a Sri Lankan, um, even with a pedigree, that just to go outside this country, to impress upon the others, that to actually you could walk the talk, and what you have achieved, and as to go and coach a top rugby team in New Zealand, and how did it all start, and how did you? I believe that you got another mate of yours, another Sri Lankan working with you, and you two guys, I hear that you got done wonders and earned the respect of the club, the players, and just tell me, mate, your journey, how it all started, and where you are right now, and also talk about. I know that you managed a top MMA guy. I did my homework now. I forget his name. The guy just retired. The big.
Mark Hunt.
Yep, there you go. And being the player and the player manager coach, how this entire journey and what you do in New Zealand and your life in sports, it's all yours, mate.
Well, first of all, let me respond to there was a very long uh, essay of a question slash statement, and I have to say, Charit, you are never short of words, as clearly demonstrated now, and you're a very opinionated person, and I'm not a huge social media buff. I think I have about 4 or 5 Facebook friends. You happen to be one of them. But whenever you make a statement, it's always very interesting. It's not like eating plain yogurt. There's always about 6 or 7 flavors. You put more honey, bit more sugar, and it's a very interesting concoction of an opinion you put out there. So naturally, I thought, if anyone is to start a show and talk about, pretty much anything out there, right, in the universe, it is you. So I am very happy for you, Charit, that you've started this show. And as I said, I'm really, really excited to be on the show, talking to your audience. And yeah, it's fantastic. So congratulations. So just a little bit about what you asked me about what I'm doing and how I got into it, and was it easy? Was it difficult? New Zealand is home for me now. I've been here a good 20 years. So straight after finishing my rugby at Royal and then playing for CH, I came over here for university, and I was fortunate enough, got a few opportunities, grabbed them with both hands, stayed on. As far as rugby goes, to get to where I've gotten to and to be coaching at the level I'm coaching at, it took me a good 15, 20 years to learn, innovate, try new things, and you're constantly learning. Just before I came live on the show, I was looking at some footage from what's currently happening in Europe. And, lo and behold, there was something new which I thought I had already gone over, but they were doing it just a little bit different. So, cutting video, looking at my notes. One thing I do have to say is, in a country like New Zealand, it's very easy to coach a sport like rugby, because rugby is, it's a religion in this country. Governments win and lose election depending on the World Cup result.
Just like mate, you know as much as I do, how big the game is in Sri Lanka. It's the number one sport in New Zealand.
Oh, totally, totally. It's absolute passion. And especially, once you learn, once you understand what the sport is about, the most important thing is, in this country, it's what you know. It's not who you know. It's what you know as a player, a coach, or whatever profession you choose. And, it's, by and large, to a very high degree, a very egalitarian society. So by that, what I mean is that, society is fairly equal. And that's why probably someone like myself, who is a migrant to this country, along with my colleague, Coach Nira, we've got an opportunity to do what we're doing. And the most important thing is, you've got to be innovative. You've got to be able to try new things. Don't be afraid of experimenting. And, be fearless. Be fearless. I look back at my career. I've always been a serial entrepreneur. I've not been one to do a 9-to-5 job. I've owned and sold a number of businesses, and that's the same attitude and approach I take to my rugby. So most important thing is, be open to new ideas, be open to innovation. And started the show, I said, you have to empty your cup. And that's the most important thing. You have to be willing to learn from people around you. And, I spend an enormous amount of time, when we have visiting teams coming over from other parts of the country. And obviously Super Rugby is on now, so we have a number of teams coming to New Zealand. I always make it a point to try and go watch them train. I try and interact with these teams, ask them a lot of questions, and try and fully immerse myself in understanding what is what is it that these teams do? What is it that these coaches, players do, which make them so great? So, you're constantly learning. And once you're in that zone, where you want to learn, apply to what you're doing, you can be a real innovator of the sport or whatever industry you choose, Charan.
You know, one of the most interesting things that, what you said just now, making sure that your cup is empty. I'm just not talking about this literally, drinking, yeah. But one of the biggest problems, we have in this country, that you probably would have seen, sometimes, especially on social media, people passing judgment on others based on the knowledge, the limited knowledge they have. People think they know everything, which you don't. And even in my profession, that I was going to give you a condition on the show. There's one subject that we are not going to talk about is my coaching at BRC at the moment. I thought I could learn something from you where I'm going wrong. I thought, well, I knew everything. I thought it's a walk in the park, just to take over. I knew it is going to be. I'm just kidding. Just it's going to be a hard ask, to take on a Division One team and coaching them at the highest level. The fact is, that yes, I know my game, but I've been out of the system for a while, I've not, okay, with the international scene, yes, I've been there, but the domestic scene, which I wasn't very sure of, which I really evolved, since I last coached the domestic team, and perhaps, that I have some shortcomings, and that the end result is such. But as you said, the most important thing is my cup is. I feel that my cup is empty, and today I got a message from one of the guys who my coach Sachit Patran about he's a. I was very touched. He sent me a message, sir. It appears you need help. And first thing I said, yes, mate, come over. Have a look. What I'm doing, and tell me what I'm not doing right. Because the most important thing is like what I'm trying to stress at here. It's one of the reasons, Bo, I stay out of the social media where there are political discussions, and when it comes to religion, politics, I decided to stay out and do something completely different. I realized that it's absolutely difficult, or it's extremely difficult that to have a chat with a Sri Lankan, because they are opinionated. That really, I mean, that I don't mind someone commenting, the guy like you talking about rugby, the game inside out, and you know what it is. But if I start talking about rugby with my limited knowledge that I have to respect you. But I walk into a function, you'll be amazed at how many people tell me how I should run a cricket team. But because of my this my thinking that my cup is empty, it's really strange. I must tell you the story. That sometimes I tell stories on my show that if you remember that sometime back, as an analyst, going back to 2012, I think the 2020 World Cup in Sri Lanka, Mahela Jayawardene was born for slow over 8. You may recall, just then, and we were going in for I think semis, I think quarterfinals, and we were up against England, I think, and MJ already had one warning, so another warning, and it was going to be. It was very evident, very obvious. We are going to get another warning for the slow over 8, and the second warning, Mahela, even if he beat England, Mahela would have been automatically out of the semi-finals. And we go for a team meeting, go for training. All I could hear Mahela going on and on about, manage. What about this? How are we going to overcome? So it was total distraction for the entire team about the warning he had in the previous game. So then I was thinking, how the hell am I going to contribute to get over this, this scenario? And out of the blues, an idea came from a guy who had never played the game. He's actually a tennis coach. He told me, why not have a non-playing captain? I said, you what? Is that possible? Can you actually do that? And then immediately I rang up Graham Ford, my coach. I said, coach, I got an idea. So Graham, and if Graham thought at that point, that I was talking rubbish and it was a bullshit idea, Graham would have said, forget it, mate, I'm not going to do it. Instead of doing that, because Graham's cup was empty, he said, can we do that, mate? So immediately I rang up the master referee, and after all these years, and Srinath was, was a close mate of mine, and I asked Srinath, if we do this, are we going to break the law? Srinath said, mate, it is really out of the box thinking. I have nothing to say. If you boys want to do it, go
Yeah.
ahead, do it. Lawfully, there's nothing ICC or a match referee could do. And the rest is history. We appointed Kumar Sangha as captain, and he went to toss. So on record, it said Kumar Sangakkara, but MJ actually the on-field captain. And the ICC changed the rules, and it was they promised that they would not penalize for over it, and we overcame it because of the fact that that the craziest idea came from a person, and my cup is empty. So one of the points, as you said, your success, your cup being empty. So for people listening out there, I keep saying, and sometimes you may see some of the comments that after the show, people will comment based on the knowledge. And what I have learned over the years, the more I learn, the less I know.
Yeah, look, what an amazing story. That's one heck of a story, and that's stuff for legend, to be frank. Because again, lateral thinking. And one thing I have to say is, as far as opinions concerned, you can form opinions, and I guess it depends on the level of information, how credible is it, how scientific it is, and just in anything in life, in any industry, and as far as sport, professional sport goes, as far as opinions go, and when people give you one, so long as there is scientific evidence and scientific literature, numbers. I mean, for example, you can see on my shirt, StatsPert. I'm going to give myself a little plug. This is a platform I developed about 6-7 years ago. What we look at is numbers, evidence on trying to analyze patterns of play. So again, if someone turns up to you and says, "Yeah, look, if you're going to toss, make sure you bat." That's just a statement. But if someone comes up to you and says, "Look, the last 40 games which have been played in this venue, the team batting first has won 39 out of 40 games." Clearly, there's a statistical pattern, and that is scientific evidence. So there's a big difference between making a statement, which could be circumstantial, hearsay, bullshit, whatever you want to say, and then you could clearly give a opinion which is based on data, in good information, and statistics. So the point I'm trying to make is, I guess, the more people look at things from that perspective, the whole conversation and the whole interaction becomes that much more educated, and that's what we popularly refer to as an educated opinion. Now, with my show, which I do during the school's rugby season, which I have an enormous passion for, absolutely love, and I would absolutely kill to continually be part of Sri Lanka schools rugby, the coverage, I do on the papare.com. One of the key areas we look at is, how can we educate the viewership or the spectator? So I will deliver certain content in a certain way, where we have numbers, where we look at video footage, where we look at patterns, where we go back 3-4 seasons and we clearly draw up a trend, and that makes more
interesting. Boa, I told you, at the test transmission that I may have a surprise for you. I have a surprise guest, online wants to say hi to you. There's it's a pleasant surprise for you. Do you know this guy?
I do. The three of us. The three of us look like triplets.
Three musketeers. Chev, great to have you, son. Great to have you on the show.
Thank you, sir. Good to be here.
Brilliant to have you. I mean, I did not, as I mentioned to you, and as you requested me, it was going to be an absolute surprise for Boa. Did you have any idea it was Chev is going to be on the show?
I had absolutely no idea. I thought you were going to
No,
toast me a glass of whiskey or something like that. But
no.
so uh,
Sorry to disappoint. Sorry to disappoint.
No,
to
actually,
to
when I asked Chev, would you like to, be on the show? And Chev said, why not, mate? That I saw Chev's, actually, I thought of having Chev on the show when I saw his comment and said, he's like a brother, it's like a brother to me. I thought, why not have Chev on the show? Then it'll be brilliant to bring his input as well, to Chev. And it's the first time that I'm having multiple guests, and it looks brilliant. Three of you, they're in, three screens. I don't know how the viewers, let me have a look at it. Oh, it looks, Chef, you look
It
good,
looks
mate.
good. Hey,
You know,
you guys look fantastic. I feel like I'm in a I don't know, fashion lineup or something. Great stuff. And well done on the show, Tarit. It looks fantastic.
Thanks a lot,
it's
mate. It means a lot, coming from a person like you, like a media personality such as you. And first of all, Chef, very short notice, and to agree to come on the show and be a part of my the ongoing talk show. And we were just discussing about it, Chef. Before you came online, it was Boa's idea, who got me, hooked me up on this, the whole idea, and it was his idea. And if
Yeah.
not for him, I wouldn't be here. And it's what a pleasure, and it's an honor to have you, such as I said, top media personality, like you, taking time off from your busy schedule to come and say hi to your buddy. How's it going,
Uh,
Chef? Everything okay?
yeah, everything's fine. Boa and I go back a long way. And Boa, what am I allowed to say about you on this show? I mean, can I just spill the beans or?
well. Let me say this, Charit. You have managed to pull off something I try to do on a regular basis. That is
Yeah.
just communicating with this guy on the phone. He is so difficult to get on the phone. Uh, you've managed
Impossible
to
to
do
get Chef online, yeah.
just just like that. And yeah, I mean, look, Chev and I, we go back a long way. He's like a brother to me, and I am pretty much a brother to him. Yeah, we've had some very interesting moments in life.
So
More
let me
so,
tell you one story, Charit,
How
quick
you guys,
one.
you were in school, or how did it happen?
No, we met in university, and here's something you might not know about Boa is that he was a tech entrepreneur. He and I started a software company in 1998 or something,
yep,
um,
98.
along with two other friends, Harinder and Ishan. And in about 2 years, the company became incredibly successful, and we sold it off. And we were kind of what do you call it, .com entrepreneurs at the time, and made some money, and we spent it all. Right, we never saved any of it.
We did on a car. What else?
On a car, yeah, a nice classic 1979 Datsun, and all sorts of stuff. And we had a good time. And Bua introduced me to rugby as well. I wasn't any good at it, but I had never touched a rugby ball in all my life, but played a bit of rugby. I think I made it into the team that he captained, mainly because I was his best friend. So, and then since then, we've been through almost every single main happening in our lives. I remember the time he was pursuing his girlfriend at the time and his wife today, Rui. And number of times we had to go over to her house, jump over her wall, and all sorts of adventures with this guy. So sorry to ruin your rep.
Take your shades off, mate. Your
Yeah,
mask
you gotta
is
take the
coming
shades
off.
off, mate.
The reason why I brought Chef on the show, because you are always very, you see
Safety
that low
first.
profile picture, you hardly see the guy. He's always man behind a mask. You're like, what's that? The techno band, mate. With the helmets on now. I forget.
Bono. He looks like
Daft
Bono.
Punk. He looks like Daft Punk, mate. One of those guys.
Yeah, here we
Now,
go.
now you know the reason why I asked you to come on the show, mate. Which Chef
Yeah.
is going to take the piss out of you, mate.
This is incredible, Charit. You have managed to pull off something I try to do very regularly, and I get frustrated at purely because he's a man who has to do a million things. he runs one of the most successful organizations in the country. It's world class, and I see the amount of effort and commitment he puts into it.
Yep.
It's incredible. So I'm so proud. I am so proud. That what he does on a daily basis, and it's simply incredible that you've managed to get more than 2 minutes of his time on this show. It's
Well, listen, it's not about me; it's about you, Bua. And Charit, thank you for having me on the show. I want to say something though about Bua.
Go on.
From day one, from the first day I met him, he's a guy who brings just so much value to whatever he's doing. An hour with Bua will just completely change anything that you're thinking about. You could be thinking about rugby or running a business or something to do with your family, whatever it is. This is a guy who knows how to add value to stuff. And whenever he's down in Sri Lanka, we spend, whatever time we can talking about all sorts of crazy stuff. And I always end up feeling enriched, feeling like, I have more than when I started. And that's just been his success. That's one side of Boa. The other is the fact that he's just never changed. He's remained absolutely the same from the first day you and I probably met him. Nothing changes him, nothing phases him. And the other important aspect about Boa is the fact that he's just a fantastic friend to have. I know that if I call him and I say, "Hey, Boa, I need you here tomorrow," he will be here. He will take a flight from Auckland to Colombo, and he'll take a bullet for me if I ask him to. So that's the kind of guy you have in the middle of the two of us today. So when you ask me, would I like to be a part of the show? For me, I'm just honored to be next to you two guys, because you guys are great blokes, and we don't have enough of people like you. So very very happy to be here.
Boa, it's very humbling to hear, such, words, compliments coming from such a great guy, very well respected, not only in Sri Lanka, around the globe, and, just such a fantastic person. And as I said, it's just like, it's like, this thought came into my mind as I got up, why not, have Chev? I was really skeptical. I wasn't really sure whether Chev would, I know his schedule. And when I said perfect, anything for Boa, I was like, mate, I just very briefly told you in the morning, I have a pleasant surprise for you, but never mentioned that, Chev will be there. And I wanted it to be like a complete, like to surprise to even the listeners. I know if I mentioned the fact that Chev is going to be on the show, probably I would have had more viewership. Yeah, he's a celebrity. I'm not the one. He's the one. And would have had, but I kept it under wraps. Just And
you would have been blocked by Facebook, maybe. Who knows? Could have gone either way.
Oh, that's deep. Did you hear that?
It's an amazing surprise. I have to admit, I always wanted to have an internet threesome. I feel like I'm having one right now. So,
do you do any work with Chev with SFM, or just like the live updates, and what Chev used to do with Tony Gregg and Russell Arnolds and all that? Do you do any work with him?
Well, there's two sides to it. Number one is, as you would know, when the Bradby Shield is on, I come down. I do I'm part of the commentary team. So whenever I'm down, I do work with Chev and some of his fantastic sportscasters. Just doing a few updates and few news segments for the sports side of things. And on the other side, as far as what Chev does, I help him out with things like leadership training, some ongoing coaching. It's what I call coaching the boardroom. It's another aspect of what I do, where we look at innovation, systems and processes. How do we manage situations? How do we, as he said, create value, add value to what we're doing, which is something I really enjoy as well. So to answer your question, yeah, I mean, try and get involved. It starts with, oh, look, let's just catch up for a drink, but it usually ends up, changing the whole direction of an organization, which is pretty cool.
Excellent, Chev. That just to ask you, I know that you are head of the Maharaja, the media organization. You more involved with the radio or the TV at the moment, mate?
Well, my day job is both. So we have a bouquet of about 9 channels, and then of course that includes news and stuff like Gammadha. I'm very humbled and blessed to be part of all of those great movements. So it's really a incredible opportunity that I've been given. I'm very thankful. Boa will know how all of this began, 20, 25 years ago. Very, very humble beginnings that we all had. And so, it's really important. I try to keep my feet on the ground all the time, hang out with guys like you who keep it real all the time, and try to do my best because, I'm kind of really lucky in a way because I've got a fabulous boss, Mr. Raj Mahendran, or Kili as everybody knows him. He's just an incredible influence in my life. And then on the other side, I've got just an incredible team, a team of leaders who just, go out and do fantastic work. So I do the cool stuff like cutting ribbons and giving speeches.
Brilliant. You know that it's such a coincidence that Kili was my boss as well. Way back in time. When I
Really?
when I didn't. Yeah. I mean, I started at F. Jones long time. The
Oh,
good old,
wow.
yeah, long years back. Going
Okay.
back. Back in time when I was doing my tea.
Right.
I was with Maharajas for a very long time, probably like over 10 years or something.
Oh, wow. I had no idea, Charit.
Yeah, I was
Okay.
like a very stalwart of during 83 riots, which like most
Yeah.
Chev, you would have been very young,
I was
and
5. Yeah.
it's a massive setback the organization had that
Yeah.
and there is a the entire I mean I'm not scared to talk about it. What really happened. That this so-called the July riots that we had in this country.
Yeah.
The entire organization was burnt down. We survived. Abe Jones survived for some reason, and
Yeah.
we had a Dilip Mendes, Roy Dyers,
Yeah.
Rajan Mahanama, Ramesh Ratnaik. I mean, I was like, I think I'm the only one who did not play for Sri Lanka at that time. Rashan Jurampati. We probably had the entire 11 working
Yeah.
at Abe Jones,
Yeah.
and for some reason, maybe I don't know, because our presence or for our luck, nothing happened to the T department. And I
Right.
remember talking to Kili,
Yeah.
and first discussion we had, he said, "Boys, help me to rebuild this organization."
Yeah.
It's way back in that's 83. You don't believe, if I may recall, in my T years, that's the best freaking year that the F Jones ever had made.
Wow.
We made everything we touched turned to gold. And we were busy buying, blending, exporting, and we went to value addition. And with our help, we built the entire organization. We managed to give the Maharaj, and I'm very proud of that. I had a hand in it. And
Sure.
Mrs. Javadan still remembers me, the entire HR department, and
She's still around.
she's still around. Yeah, I still have a touch with her.
Yeah.
And Basil and all those guys, I still remember them. And that particular year, and which you became, the director of what do you call that? Director of the company, Dilip Mendes,
Yeah.
was the executive of the year.
Oh, executive of the year. Yeah.
Yeah. Then thereafter, a couple of Vijay Gunawardhan and you, Shaq, and so many others. I kept a very a close tab on Maharaja, what's happening there. It's a great organization, and they help mercantile cricket immensely until that unfortunate incident. Maharaj, as always, we were mercantile champs. That we had Browns and Ceylon Tobacco, and looking back, and it's very unfortunate that today that we don't have those companies backing neither cricket or rugby. That you don't see those sponsorships coming in anymore.
Yeah.
And it's only okay, but I understand things change. There are other few finance companies that have come up. Boy, you know better than I do that they employ cricketers part time and rugby players part time. I was surprised to see Haley's have come up with sponsorships.
Well,
And
Charit, you see,
MAS, you know,
in this discussion, there are two key things I want to highlight. Number one, when you gave that historical rundown of how when you were involved with A.F. Jones, the key here is it's teamwork, and all of you guys bought into a vision. The vision was set by the leader, and all of you guys selflessly said, "Yep, we're gonna do whatever it takes to buy into this vision and achieve it," and that's exactly what you did. Number two, as you stated, the face of business, the way the world works now is things change. Things change very, very quickly. For example, 15, 20 years ago, Nokia was the phone to have. Everyone had a Nokia. Fast forward 20 years, they've pretty much kind of moved on from the face of Earth, and Apple, Android have taken its place. So the key lesson there to learn is you got to change with the times. You got to understand what that change is, and you got to understand what the process is to keep up with that change. The faster you understand that, the easier you will adapt and you will be more successful. So one of the key things you need to understand so that you understand the change which you need to make is what we discussed: empty your cup. Understanding and learning about change and implementing is not for everybody, and it certainly is not for people who know everything. You have to be prepared to unlearn some of the things you have learned over the years and be prepared to try new things. The faster you do that, the more effective you do that, you will be a survivor, and you will probably this modern economy.
Is that Chef's phone that is ringing, mate?
Yeah, sorry about that.
No worries. Now there's the Chef. I know the social work that you do through your network, and I must tell you this. I think you guys have recently have embarked. That I have a guy in the squad. That I'm just helping out BRC at the moment.
Okay.
Go ahead. It's a brilliant story, mate. The guy is from up north, and he has played a bit of cricket, with the balls, with the slingy action, just like.
Vijay.
He's called Kinochi Express.
Yeah, Vijay. Yeah, he's right. He's like 15 feet away from me.
So there you go.
Yeah, hi to Vijay.
Sure.
I must tell you, mate. I have so much pressure from you guys. They are so worried about Vijay. Every day the guys are calling me up and say, "Coach, how's Vijay doing? How is Vijay doing? How's when are you going to give him a chance?" I said, "Guys, hey, give me a break, mate. The Vijay has just
Sorry about that.
No. It's brilliant, mate. That's another thing. This talent from around the country.
So let me tell you what happened. We were on a gum at the a door-to-door campaign about maybe 3 or 4 years ago, and one of our teams was in Kilinochi and had visited a home, and it was Vijay's home, and I think he'd been playing cricket in the backyard with some friends. And Jeffrey, the Jabadarshan, who's one of the guys who works for us, had seen this guy bowling like Malinga at like 1,000,000 miles an hour.
Yeah.
And he called me and he's like, "There's this guy, and I'm going to send you a video. Just take a look." And I was just amazed at the pace at which this guy was bowling. And he was a tall, lanky guy. And we brought him down, introduced him to Mr. Kili, and he was just like, let's try to help this guy. But since then, Charlie, to be honest, you're the only guy who's taken any interest. I mean, this guy's been in Colombo now for 3 years, and I've taken him to just about every single coach and everybody I know. And obviously, they have the intention is right because they want to help him, but one thing or another comes in the way, and they just don't have enough time to put into this guy. Now, I don't know whether he's going to make it big time or not, but all I kind of hoped for was that he be given the right opportunity, and if he was good enough, well, then great. But we did try to just to test him out. We just tried to play cricket with him in the car park, and I lasted one ball, and I didn't even see it coming. So the guy's fast.
So there you go, outside the box thinking. So we call lateral thinking. So, Chev, what you guys have actually done is what you call a TID, talent identification and development. Now, you're right. I mean, with raw talent, you got to try and enhance that talent, and this is a technical area from a coaching perspective. So one of the key things, when you unearth talent, you can do is a couple of things. Number one, obviously look at their technical aspects and put some structure so that you work on their technical abilities and improve it. But it has to be measured. It's otherwise it's just like running in the dark. You know you're going to improve, but you need to measure it. Especially at high performance sports, there are a number of methods where you can put matrices and KPIs, key performance indicators. And number two, you have to look at what you call behavioral change, because we're all humans. We're all humans. If you have the talent, you have to look at how you enhance that. And by and large, my experience as a coach tells me that you have to look at how people approach their, basically daily routines. Do they turn up on time? Do they make sure that they eat right? Do they train right? Do they talk to the right people? Do they record what they do? Do they keep detailed records of how they train? So you can't do this all at once. And especially when you find outside the box talent, this is a huge challenge. You have to systematically train them to think in a certain way. You have to train them in a certain way, how they behave and they approach training as a whole. So, Chev, what you've done is you've taken him to the right guy. Obviously, Charit, I think he's certainly found the place out, apart from this internet threesome, the absolute spot where he belongs is director of coaching at, top.
I just want to go back to something else, Boa, that Charit said a little earlier. Charit, I hope that's all right.
Yes, go ahead, mate, please.
First of all, you were talking about the beginnings, the beginnings of your career at Maharajas, and to be very honest, it's guys like you, the stuff that you did, particularly post 83, that set the platform for guys like me to come in later and build successful careers, if you want to call it that. So I just want to say thank you, because I meet guys like Roshan and all of these guys who are massive legends, and had no idea what kind of turmoil and hardship that you guys went through. And imagine coming to work in 1983 when your entire organization, Save AF Jones, was burnt to a crisp. I mean, very few people actually know that. And then the courage to say, you know what, we're going to rebuild, and then to rebuild, and then for guys like me to come in much later and build careers on stuff that you guys built, is really fantastic. And that honor must go to Mr. Raj Mahendran, obviously, and then the team he had at the time, which includes you. I know that now. Secondly, I think what many people don't really also know is, as you said, the contribution made to Sri Lanka cricket by companies like Maharajas, and other companies, obviously, but it's a seldom spoken of story. The blood, sweat, and tears that went into getting the ICC status for Sri Lanka, for instance. The cricketers at the time, like yourself, who didn't play for the dollars, you played for your country, and massive respect and honor goes to you guys for everything that you put in at that time. I just wish that we can give Sri Lanka cricket a chance right now, and we can go back to our world-beating ways. And I hope it happens sooner rather than later.
Brilliant, mate. Yeah, I mean, these are not made up stories. My show is all about that why it's called like a drink with Charit. It's off the cuff. I wouldn't tell Boa that what I'm going to ask him. It's just a casual chat about day-to-day life and what we do. And as I said before, that always I have people who can inspire others on my show. The inspiring people who have contributed to the society, and obviously you two guys have done that. And it's coming from a guy like you, Chev. Thanks a lot. Yes, looking back, I think we all contributed to Maharajas. We followed what I think your motto says, courage to be different, if I may recall.
Spot on. Yep.
Courage to be different, and that's what we were. And as you said, that the entire organization was burnt to crisp. We survived and we rebuilt, and we gave you all a future, which I think the strategy of Maharaja is the way of conducting business. Some of the subsidiaries, went down probably, that as Boa rightly said, things evolve. And for what Maharaja is today and the contribution they made to Sri Lanka cricket is immense, mate. And also, while you're doing your social work, the other thing that, and to touch upon also what Boa said, mate, the problem that we have, yes, we got talent, but some of the talent, coming from those outstations, uh, say for an example, let's talk about Vijay, which the Chev knows very well. He's born strong. He's a hardwired guy, mate. He's a wiry, absolutely a strong bloke. That perhaps change where he's coming from. But
Yeah.
looking at the guy, you could say that over the years, that not proper nourishment has gone in.
Yeah.
There are lots of shortcomings and no proper basic training that has gone in. He's just raw, absolutely raw talent, and it'll take a while. It's work in progress. That
Sure.
it'll be. He's got pace, but he's at the moment he's just spraying the ball all over.
Yeah.
But I have told him, just don't worry about basics. Nothing. I'm not going to coach you. My advice is, you see a batsman, you break his ankle. Just throw that ball at his ankle. That's all I'm asking you to do. He's getting
Yeah.
better by the day.
Okay.
And mate, it's a personal request from me to you. I mean,
Yeah.
perhaps I shouldn't be saying it on air. Look after the guy. Cricket is not a cheap sport in this country, unfortunately.
Yeah.
The pair of shoes, pair of boots will cost, mate. I think it's over 20,000 rupees,
Yeah.
which is
Yeah.
it's ridiculous. Boy, that's the price of a pair of shoes here, mate.
Yeah,
And
look, so-
over and above, the
so-
nutrition. Yeah. Something.
Courage to be different. So, sorry, the reason I jump in here is because, if you're looking at Vijay as an example, and obviously, Charit, you involved in cricket and high performance. So with high performance management, especially with athletes at the level we are talking about, the most important thing is what we call the bedrock or the foundation is nutrition. So with some of these athletes who come from non-metropolitan or what you call outstation areas, nutrition it's a problem. So that means that they have to be taught to eat and drink in a certain way. And that's going to be a whole different ballgame. It's going to be a whole different lifestyle for them. And then number two is the strength and conditioning. So they get strong and they get fitter. So once these two physiological aspects are met, then obviously you have the psychology. So you got to make sure you cultivate good habits. They turn up on time. They turn up and do exactly what they're supposed to do based on what the coaches tell them. Record keeping, understanding why they're doing a particular skill, a particular drill, and all this has to be measured. So with what both of you guys are doing, the number one tip I can give you is that come up with a structure and don't be restrictive with these athletes who come out from outstations. Give them the right amount of structure. Especially with you, Chev, you could actually teach these guys some really good habits because if you keep doing the same thing, you get the same result. If you want to change the result, you must change what you're doing. So you have to have a good, hard look at yourself in the mirror and make them understand by making the right change, you can control the outcome. And Charit, from your point of view, it's just making sure all these levels are met in the best possible way. And it's got to be tracked and monitored. And that's the one common theme I have to put across, be it business, life, whatever it is. The more you write things down, because what gets written will get measured. What gets measured will give you results. What gives you results will give you success. It's pretty simple, clear cut, as far as I'm concerned.
Yep. Yeah, it's very, that's the reason why I brought you on the show, mate, just to get your input, how to go forward. And yes, we can look into all those aspects, and provided that those basics are met. Guy needs simple as that. He needs a decent pair of shoes, otherwise he'll break his ankle.
Sure.
Right? And if he goes for half an hour at the effort that he's putting in, and he's going to break his back if the proper nutrition doesn't go in. And
Sure.
I'll tell you a story. And Chevaan, you may find it very interesting. If you can highlight this, at some, somewhere, like in media, it is getting a protein powder. So proteins, people use Boa. I need your contribution here, mate. The protein drink, it's a supplement,
Yeah.
right? Lots of athletes use it, across the board. Just whether it's cricket, rugby, or athletics, anything.
Yeah.
You cannot buy proper. Forget the fact that we don't get proper food in this country. Despite the quality of the food that is available, if any of these kids, one of the biggest problems that I have, some of those boys, some of the kids, who now I have taken about 5 guys from army who's training under me, they are dying to buy, some protein powders, but simply can't afford it. It's 300% tax on, because it comes under the supplementary category. These are little things the government can look into make. The government is not going to make millions by imposing 300% tax on protein powders. But I'm telling you that this is the gospel truth, mate, in this country. And make it affordable. And people could, the athletes can, that's an absolute necessity, because the type of food that these boys consume, the rice and curry, is not going to help them. They need their proteins, and we are not getting sufficient proteins in our diet. And the government has imposed 300% on a basic protein supplement. It doesn't make any sense, mate.
Yeah, look, Charit, so just to respond to that, I mean, obviously I can't comment on what lawmakers and governments, how they impose taxation and what the economics are around it. But what I can say is that as far as all stakeholders go, education is the most important thing. So with these athletes, I mean, with supplements, it's exactly that. It's supplementary to the diet you have. So one of the key things you can look at is look at the diet, the nutrition itself, and try and alter that first and foremost. Try and improve foundation as far as what your basic nutrition goes, and then hopefully, there'll be people who understand that if you need to compete at a high level, they need more supplementary nutrition, and they'll put their hands in their pockets. And again, it's about budgeting. I get asked this question a lot from rugby circles in Sri Lanka. One of the most common grouses, especially from coaches and administrators, is there's never enough money. Of course, there's never enough money. But the reality is, if you look at the local tournaments and what players get paid, for example, 90% of the players who I coach and manage, they don't get paid. They don't get a cent. They have day jobs. It's just out of pure love and wanting to play. But whereas if you look at in Sri Lanka at the highest levels, people make good money comparatively. Of course, everything is a relative statement, a relative value. So it's not so much whether you don't have enough money or whether you have too much money. It's what you do with your money. It's where you spend it, how you spend it. There's a good old saying I always live by. It goes something like this: it's you're never broke. It's just that your priorities are broke. I think
I agree with you. I'm not talking about the guys who are playing at the highest level. Yes, they can buy perhaps in a container load of supplements. I'm not talking about, they have sponsors, and once you reach a certain level, you're okay, man. There are sponsors come after you. I'm talking about guys at the grassroots level, who don't get paid as much as the elite athletes. You know how much the basic supplement would cost them 15,000 rupees, just like a 20-day supplement, which is the boys can't afford it. Yeah. And if you try to compare the food, the quality of food that you get in New Zealand and Sri Lanka, mate, there is no comparison here.
I understand that, Charit, and again, the point I'm trying to make is I think it's education. So whoever is lobbying, the powers that be, need to educate them so that the information you provide people are just not hearsay opinions where you actually clearly state this, saying, hey, look, this is what is required. And then it's just a case of rerouting the funding so that the grassroots look. The bottom line is in any industry, be it sport, business, agriculture, whatever it is, if the grassroots aren't strong, if the grassroots levels, their needs are not going to be met, you can forget about the elite level. Then it's that simple. I mean, in the industry I'm involved with, obviously rugby, especially in this country. On a Saturday during rugby season, there's probably well over 20, maybe 25,000 games of rugby at all levels right across the country happening. So the reason why the elite level is so strong, there's a very clear-cut pathway from the grassroots right up to the top. So from policy point of view, when you administer whatever that industry, and in this case, the sport of rugby, 85 to 90% of the emphasis and budgeting has to be directed at the grassroots. Because if you don't get that right, you can forget about the top level. It is that simple.
Now, I hear you loud and clear, mate. Chevaan, I think that's one of the biggest problems we have, and we don't look after players at grassroots level. I mean, I don't think it's confined only to sports. I think it's happening at all levels. That you can see the amount of corruption in this country, and that I'm very outspoken, and I'm not. At the beginning of our conversation, I told Boa I have decided to stay out of politics, religion, and there's no point. This country is, I think, we are seriously going back. So you might as well do something that that it means that you can do something, inspire people, and stay away from these two subjects.
So, Jared, I think that's I have a contrarian view about what you just said.
Yeah.
I think we need to discern the difference between politicians and politics. I happen to think politics is the greatest thing a man can do, probably next to medicine, maybe. It's service of the people, and there's nothing wrong with that. I think young people should aspire to get into politics. The problem
After all, it's the second oldest profession in the world, mate. Why not?
Exactly. A lot less enjoyable, probably. But that's debatable, though. But anyway,
that's right. Based on what's happening around these days,
yeah.
So I think we need to also stop sort of disparaging politics, because it's public service. We need to train young people in public service and have them come through the ranks, just like they would become doctors or engineers. Just to use the medical profession as an analogy, if you were to have some sort of illness, you'd go to a doctor. And if the doctor is no good, you wouldn't visit an engineer or a lawyer. You'd find another doctor. So similarly, I think what we need to understand is we need good politicians, people who know what it is to serve the people, who are honest and are held accountable for their decisions, and spend most of their time in development activity as opposed to political politics. And I think if we go down the route of finding people who are not politicians to get into politics without the right kind of experience, I think that's going to be a bit of a train wreck as well. So the solution isn't to find people who are completely out of politics without any political experience, because politics is an art and a science. You must never dismiss the importance of political science. Working with people, negotiation, being flexible, all of these things are really important parts of politics. Unfortunately, it's being dragged in the mud as a result of the wrong kinds of people being attracted into politics, and then it keeps people like Charit out of politics, and he doesn't even want to talk about it, which is not how we should be fixing our problems. So corruption can only be truly taken out if the right kind of people come into politics, and I think that's the long-term solution to all of what we've been talking about right now. Just a random thought I thought I would share with you guys.
Oh, brilliant. No, I agree with you, mate. Will that happen in this country? Is there any possibility that we'll see during our lifetime, at least our children could see that? I mean, you guys are the ones who could make a difference. And as you rightly said, people like me, the Boa who Boa called very outspoken, I have decided to step back, mate, not because of repercussions. I don't care a damn what impact it has on my career or it had on my career. That's
So,
that's irrelevant.
so
It doesn't matter. I'm
gentlemen,
not trying
so
to speak the truth.
what Chev is saying is, what I spoke to you about, Charit, right top of the show is, education. If you have the right framework, so why should politics, or for that matter, any profession, be any different from any professional process or a system where people are introduced and indoctrinated into that particular profession? So, for example, if you want to be a doctor, you got to go to med school, you got to do your time, you do your
Yeah.
internship, you get your
Yeah.
qualifications, you do your paperwork, you do your hours, and then you become a fully fledged doctor. Then you do your time, and then you specialize. So, why should being a professional politician be any different? You could probably go to,
Absolutely. Yeah.
school, for example, Harvard School have, School of,
Kennedy School of Government. Yeah.
Kennedy School of Government, So
Yeah.
if there's some kind of system where there is a electoral college, a local version where people are handpicked, screened, and the right talent is attracted, and lawmakers and policymakers will make policy based on science, statistics, hard evidence, so that long term the right policies are made, and it's not a case of playing to the gallery or sending people who are let's say who can sing or dance or climb up a tree or do some kind of bullshit which gives you that stardust effect. It'll last for a few days, but when the real problems start coming in, you watch how the knives come out and the frustrations from the people. So it's really important, whatever we do in life, we have to do it for the right reasons. As far as policy goes, and again, I'm no politician or have no zero interest in becoming one. But what I can say is, from systems and processes and making good policy, you have to have statistics, you have to have data, you have to make scientific decisions, which have long-term ramifications.
By the way, are you
You
guys
made,
reading the comments on the side here?
can you see it's absolutely hilarious people
Three
what they say
beautiful
when we
baldies.
Three
I just
beautiful
saw
boldies.
thank
That's
you
And
guys.
that's
shout out to Felix
I
Dialves. Good to
know.
see you, buddy.
It's before we wrap up, mate. Just there's a couple of things I would like to talk about. The Bangladeshi under-19 win yesterday. You talk of progression in sport. Sri Lanka under-19s ended up in the, I think, 10th position. I think in the ICC under-19 rankings. And Bangladesh went on to win the World Cup, coached by Navid
Navid
Nawaz,
Nawaz.
Sri Lankan. I don't think any other coach has achieved that kind of status, mate. I think we should take a moment. He's a good mate of mine, and if I don't say Navid, well done, absolutely brilliant job. Talk of progression, mate. That's where I look at the strides that Bangladesh have made, cricketing wise, and at a time we are struggling to beat Zimbabwe, literally, with Angelo back in the squad. And last time I toured Zimbabwe with the team, and with Chandimal, and no, we didn't have any stars. I think it was Rangana Heratu captain. We went with almost literally the A team, and we yet beat Zimbabwe comprehensively. And now with the entire squad, we're still struggling. I don't know where Sri Lanka cricket is heading, like everything else. I'm not saying it because I'm out of Sri Lanka cricket, and I don't know where rugby is heading. How the A division rugby is progressing. Boa, you probably will be able to tell more about it. When you look at the Six Nations, the standard of rugby being displayed. Look at India playing New Zealand right now. The standard
Yeah,
of
I think there's a parallel. Here's the good news. I think Sri Lanka cricket and Sri Lanka rugby probably from two different sports, but probably the same level. if but again, there's varying reasons. I mean, I have some very strong opinions. I'm not going to talk about cricket because that is not my expertise. As far as rugby goes, I have some very, very strong opinions. Again, this is based on scientific fact and data. In fact, Chev, on your network, we had a news piece. In fact, with Muad, one of your presenters about key reforms for Sri Lanka rugby. Now, I know it was more rugby specific, but in my opinion, I thought, almost all sports can take a cue from it. The reason is we have a great amount of interest and a great amount of talent at schoolboy and schoolgirl level. And it's a huge economy now. My old school, Royal College, for example, spends millions of rupees,
Massive budget, massive, all, yeah,
massive amounts.
unimaginable budget.
Yeah, and then it's all for pride to say that, hey, we won. So if you take the same, and that's what I keep saying, guys. I mean, everything is a relative thing. If a school or a bunch of schools are prepared to spend that much of money on a schoolboy sport, what's stopping the higher levels doing the same? So that's why I keep saying the it's not about being broke. It's just about the organizational priorities are broke, and they just need to figure out how to attract the right type of money and where it gets spent. And the most important thing is resource allocation. So with the current A division, things are, it's all about winning. It's all about, so long as a particular club wins, hallelujah, it's all good. But anything above and beyond that, no one really has any interest, which is, it's really unfortunate. And you got to keep up with the changes, which is a whole other ball game. Which I'd probably be talking for about 26 hours, and that's probably for today, gentlemen. And a lot of people involved in rugby will probably get upset with me, because I'm not about telling you what you want to hear. I'm about telling you exactly what it is, how it is, straight up to your face. And as I say, science, numbers, statistics, they don't have emotions attached to it. And I guess one thing, in Sri Lanka, you would have noticed this, both of you gentlemen, when you state fact, sometimes it's not a very popular opinion, is it? It hurts a lot of people. So it comes with the territory, gentlemen.
Yep. Chev, just to ask you, mate, I'm sorry, has your network has any plans to, I know that you had several setbacks, trying to get the TV rights, and, I don't want to go there, which, we all know. And, why I said it, the India cricket changed the day they found a sponsor for their domestic cricket, the Ranji Trophy. I think Sky Sport, Star Sports, or that they got the rights. And the moment that you come a TV station, when you're linked up, that your standards, just because people can witness what is going on, and the brand of cricket that you display, it goes up. I don't know. I think you had plans some time ago to try and televise the domestic season. Do you still, guys, you got any plans in the pipeline to do something like that?
Sure. I mean, look, we're always ready, willing, and able to invest into cricket in Sri Lanka. And it's an investment, because none of these things come cheap. The equipment for sports broadcasting is amongst the most expensive in the world. People would watch domestic cricket with the same expectation that they would watch international cricket. So you need to have things like spin vision and slow-mo and super slow-mo and all of that stuff. You can't cover domestic matches with just 5 cameras and 5 guys anymore. All right, so it's got to be top-notch. And any media network would certainly be willing to put in the sort of investment to cover those matches and support Sri Lanka cricket, if Sri Lanka cricket was serious about cricket. Sri Lanka cricket being run as it is to the ground.
There we go. Hit the nail on the head, mate. Right?
Well, I mean, that's pretty much it, isn't it? You have people running Sri Lanka cricket who are dragging. Cricket doesn't belong to the cricket board. It belongs to all of us. It belongs to the kids in Hanguranketa playing cricket in the field. It belongs to the guys in Valigama playing cricket on the beach. It belongs to all of us. It's national treasure. It's what we can all be proud about. speak about, hold our heads high. And I find it really, difficult to stomach the fact that, just a few guys in the cricket board who are given this precious gem to take care of and shine it and, increase its value, continue to chip it away and sell its parts for personal gain. And in that kind of scenario, it's incredibly difficult to make a business decision to say, okay, I'm going to invest X, amount of money to into domestic cricket broadcast, when you're not really sure what the guys who are running the sport are up to, and they have no public credibility whatsoever. The entire the cricket board itself and its elections are, incredibly questionable. The way in which the board is appointed itself. These are things that not something. These are things that I'm not coming up right now, but I think it's public. It's popular secret. I myself worked for the cricket board for 2 years in the year 2000 to 2002 during the interim committee. Bua was around at the time, and I have a very, very deep inside understanding of what goes on in there. Stuff that I saw was incredible, and I can only imagine it's got worse. And unfortunately, it's the players, the cricket-loving public, and the country as a whole that ultimately suffers because of the incompetence and the greed and the corruption of a few. So in that kind of circumstance, it's difficult to make an investment decision and to say, you know what, we're going to spend this amount of money and support cricket. So I think we all want the cricket administration, leadership, to be given into the hands of people like you, Charit, who have cricket at heart, and not are interested not in the dollars that come with it.
So
And that happens.
that's what happens when you.
That we will invest in broadcasting domestic cricket. The day Charit leads cricket in Sri Lanka, the cricket board.
Hey guys, what I have to say is, I mean, what you just said, Chev, is like when you need thoroughbred racehorses who can win races. Instead of that, you get a bunch of donkeys and you put some woman's hair dye on the, on the donkey's skin, and then
I find it hilarious that you use the hair dye analogy when none of us have hair, mate.
How ironic is irony?
Yeah, man. What are you talking about? Yeah.
When the start gets open and then these donkeys start trying to run, but they can't stay patient. And that's what's actually happening. And this is what I keep saying. You have to get the right people to do this. And if there's a proper framework and if there's right education on who to hire, how to hire, none of this bullshit will happen. And the issue here is, Charit, I told you this right at the top of the show. You asked me, how the heck did I get into coaching at this level in New Zealand in a sport like rugby? It's what you know, gentlemen. It's what you know. It doesn't matter if I had pink skin color and if I had hair or if I had three legs. It really doesn't matter. It's what I know, what I can offer, what my innovation, my ability to coach. I mean, coaching is it's a special skill, gentlemen. It's a bit of science and it's a bit of an art. But once you start doing things based on who you know and not what you know, that's when you start inviting problems. I mean, you get to know people. Yes, there's nothing wrong, but you have to always, for example, now, Charit, if you had a toothache, just because you're really good mates with your neighbor who's a locksmith, you're not going to go say, hey, look, I've got a toothache. Can you fix me up? He's got tools. You're going to go see a dentist and a good one at that. So why should hiring and appointing people to the right positions, be any different? And one other thing I have to say is, I mean, Chevaan's a big fan of this. When it comes to performance, you hire slowly. You go through the due process. Make sure you get, all your cards and ducks in a row, and you fire very quickly. If you get the wrong person, bang, you're out of there. All it does is the longer the wrong person or persons hang about, it creates this really septic environment. I mean, how many times have obviously Sri Lanka cricket, and I'm going by what's been written on the newspapers. How how many times have they been at the same situation over and over? But it's a common occurrence. It's a common occurrence with local sport. But it's a human behavior side which needs to be addressed. I mean, skills and all that sort of thing. If you get the right coaches on board, you can teach them, as you know, Char and Chevaan, as you know, you get the right people on board, you can teach them skills, be it broadcasting or being part of a business or whatever it is. But if you get the wrong people who can't change their behavioral patterns, who don't want to get out of bed, who don't want to turn up early, who think it's okay that they can turn up at whatever time and just get by, you're doomed.
Mate, in a nutshell, what is happening in our country that we are all three of us belong to, the donkeys doing dogs work, mate. They don't. That's the in Sinhalese it sounds nicer. Ballaga wede buruwa karanne. I mean that's what they say.
Don't forget the hair dye. You gotta put the hair dye so they look the part, or at least they think they do.
Yeah. We don't believe in that horses for courses scenario. It's never the thing. That's it's everything in a mess. You see some of the political appointees these days. Perhaps Chev knows much more than I do, which I don't want to talk about. It's absolutely hilarious what is going on, right? And by the way, that that the famous that the what's this guy's name who does your morning show? I forget his name.
Faraz.
Not Farad. Farad, the guy who did the. Sorry.
Bandula.
No, mate. The guy who does the morning show on SFM. The guy who started calling it the Arshi clan. Dominic. Yeah, Dom. That's why he started calling this the Arshi clan. That's the things that happens here. Absolutely Arshik. That's what we are. Regardless whether it's cricket, rugby, athletics, that you name it, mate. It's all one big fruit salad. In this country.
Well, Charlie, didn't one of your guys who scored 153 in South Africa to win that extraordinary test match, didn't he get dropped against Zimbabwe?
Why? I seriously don't know. There were stories, like some of the guys said that he had an injury and that he was rested, and okay, that's the easiest excuse that you can give. And the guy he had a niggle and therefore he was left out. And probably loss of form, or that's mystery, mate. Nobody knows. That I think the question was asked in many forums. I don't know what the chief selector had to say about it. I think they all dodged the question. And
I saw that, and I have to say that was that. Chev and I, we've come across a lot of people, and I have to say. People who answer questions like that, they're what you call brilliant idiots. They're tailor-made for a specific job, and unfortunately, that was I was astounded. I was just astounded, just on general sport and form lines. If you have a guy who can go and do that,
I suppose when you live in a country like New Zealand, when things like this happen, it's like, what's going on? But when you live in Sri Lanka, mate, it's just day to day. Just like that again in Sinhalese there are lots of nice sayings in a very beautiful language. Kammale ballata enagawada ganak na macang. It doesn't we are. Life goes on, mate.
I am the quintessential Kammale Balla because it's my job to keep listening to all of this all day.
So the life is, it's all bed of roses, mate. Nothing happens. The life goes on. So, guys, it's amazing. Chev's like a busy guy, and I can't believe it's actually, we have spoken for 1.5 hours.
We have. That's a record.
I've been on for 1 hour.
You've been on for 1 hour. Oh, you've been on for almost like 1.5 hours, mate. I didn't feel the time going.
I know.
Having two great guys like you talking to you, it's an absolute pleasure.
Well, for a threesome, we've certainly got lots of staying power, so that's a positive.
Brilliant, mate. But despite the staying power, one thing I have realized that once you are in the zone, that there is no time. You don't feel the time. Just
Time
everything
is
just revolves around
I,
you.
I always keep saying this, especially my kids, treat time as an emotion. When you're really in the zone and that's when true learning occurs. If you treat time as an emotion. So let's say, for example, right now, it's quite profound. I feel very profound, being part of this internet threesome. I feel like I've learned a lot. And it reinvigorates you, and it just resets your, what you call, synopsis. By synopsis, I mean, how you look at the world. And, yeah, it's a wonder. It's a beautiful thing.
I mean, I'm telling you, mate. That's the last few shows the last time I spoke, I had a chat with Adam Holyoke, and I was so pumped listening to that guy. I mean, he had lots to talk about how he lost his brother and how he came back, after losing Ben. That's like, I didn't know that it all happened. The uncertainty, how uncertain the life is. They were all having dinner at 1 minute, and Ben takes off. Next thing, your brother gone.
Yeah.
And how fragile this life is, and how for a while that Adam took it, I think, the whole incident, so badly, how he shied away from the public, and then he decided to come back, and he came back as a completely, he transformed his life, and he started talking to people, and he became a different individual. And after that show, after listening to him, but yeah, I couldn't sleep. I was so pumped. I couldn't sleep the whole night. That's like the I guess the adrenaline rush that you get. It's on a massive height. It's difficult to take it down. After talking to you two, perhaps I will not sleep for 2 bloody days now.
CS, it's called staying power. I'm going to quote something. It's a very good proverb. It goes like this: older the bull, harder the horn.
Harder the horn. Yeah, mate. I just, I really don't know, mate. And some of the others who are listening are there. No, that's not true. Well, we got to have part 2 of this show to discuss more about that. Mate. I think it's just a myth. I don't know how far it's true. Believe me, I'm the oldest out of you two, so I'm telling you, it's just not that easy, Older the bull, harder the horn. No, perhaps it works for rhinos and cows, but I don't know. Whether it works for humans, I don't know. Seriously, Boa, it's 2:30 in the morning. What time is it now?
Like I said, we've managed to go on this long without any artificial inducement, so that's testament to good genetics. And hey, it's education. You learn how to, go the distance. What can I say?
I know. Bo, anything that I missed out that you want to stay on the show, because I know there are lots that you wanted to talk about, and guess we did not talk about what you want to do about the yellow cards and the orange cards, and perhaps we'll do it on another forum.
I'll just give a quick brief. At the moment, I'm working with Auckland Rugby Football Union with a framework to do with tackles, safety, and tackle laws. So you'll probably hear about it on the news. It'll be trialed in one of the bigger competitions here in New Zealand, and then hopefully World Rugby latches onto it. It's a system which I have designed to make sure that we look after everyone. And as Chevaan said, talking about cricket, it belongs to everybody, i.e. the spectators. So unfortunately, rugby's become not a very spectator-friendly sport in the recent times, but that's largely to do with safety and contact to the head and neck area. So I've come out with a very comprehensive thing based on science. So no doubt, I can't talk about the whole thing now, obviously, because it's in the works, but when it's out there, I'll make sure you guys are the first to know. Okay.
Brilliant, mate. Boa, I wish you all the very best, in your future endeavors, and keep up, it's always, it's refreshing to hear you, you're giving your views and how you does your statistics and, all that in rugby. And looking forward, like you said that you'll be here during Bradby, right? Is that what you said?
That's right. So this year, 76th Bradby Shield, new sponsor. And keep in mind, the 150th Shield game, I will be there. So the first leg, which is 30th of May, second leg, fortnight. So it's going to be one heck of a game. I am so excited. I cannot wait. And guess what? I can't give you all the details now, but you will be hearing my voice behind the microphone on comms.
Brilliant.
You
Boa,
soon.
looking forward to have you, during the Bradby in Sri Lanka. And Chev, once again, you're an iconic figure in the country, the great work that you do in media and then your social work. All I can say is, wish you nothing but the very best once again. And thank you very much, sir, coming on my show. I'm humbled and I'm privileged to have you two blokes. And perhaps, I'm not, saying that, I enjoyed a lot, having my guest earlier, but this is absolutely enjoyable, having you two guys. We had a lot to talk about. Perhaps we didn't talk enough. We have much more to talk. I hope, we could do this again sometime in the future, probably have a part two. And also, thanks to all those people, with those funny comments, talking about our hairstyles and I don't know what. I haven't checked, how many more messages
The
that have
lack of
come.
hairstyles.
Someone's accusing me of having a drink of coffee.
Yeah. Thanks for watching. And as I said earlier, it's a privilege having you two boys. And good luck. Wish you all the very best. And good night, everyone. And to Boa, very good morning to you, mate. And catch you soon. Look after yourself. Chev,
Take care.
goodbye, mate. Bye.
Thanks, guys. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much.
Bye. Catch you later, boys.
See you, mate.
See you. Bye.
Bye-bye.